Hey guys, Patriot coming to you with a long overdue video. This is going to be my EDC update, and this is a video that I was originally going to try to update every year, just kind of show you what changed, but if nothing changed real dramatically, I wasn't going to show it. Well, I did change jobs and my EDC has changed. You can see here, the last EDC that you saw was this contained in this Rush 24 pack, and this was my EDC USK, and it's my urban survival kit and my everyday carry. And I say that because whenever I left the house, it went on my shoulder with me. When I got to work, I carried it out of my car and took it into work. When I was at work, I was always within 30 yards of my personal items. So I think there's really two EDC categories. One is what I would call your immediate EDC, which you should always have on you, and then the other is a personal EDC, and this would fall into the personal EDC. But just because I didn't walk around on my person all the time doesn't mean that it's not EDC. So my job has switched from an organization that it was, socially acceptable to carry around military type bag, and now it's more of a slacks and polo shirt type job. So I've downsized quite a bit, and this is my new personal EDC. Now, along with my personal EDC, my immediate EDC, or what I carry on my person, that's also changed a bit too, because I'm not wearing shorts in the cargo pockets that I was wearing before. So two things have changed. What I'd like to cover first is this little pack. It's a small pack, it's about 2 pounds, and it kind of goes every day to work with me. And I'll carry it in something, kind of disguised, like one of these reusable Petco bags or a PetSmart bag or something that doesn't really draw any attention. And in this I might have a water, an extra t-shirt, this my new EDC bag, and a few other personal items that I can carry in, maybe my lunch, and I can walk in, and it doesn't really draw any attention at all. This also has a couple of snaps on the back, so if I wanted to run that through a belt loop, I could certainly make that mobile and have that outwardly accessible. So let's talk about my personal EDC, and then we'll talk about my current carry EDC. Okay, and when we get to that immediate EDC, we'll further break that down into two categories. One will be my immediate work EDC, or work apparel EDC, and the other will be my off work immediate EDC. So there's definitely differences there. Alright, so let's get started on this piece. Okay, this little kit here is a Field Line picked up at Walmart. I think it's called the Pro Series. It's a little hard for me to read that right there, but you guys can probably see it with the light on it. And this is a little bag, weighs about 2 pounds, 2.1 pounds. Okay, this kit has 3 main compartments. It has an outer flap right here with a buckle. Okay, there's a small pocket in here. It has a pocket underneath, and then the main compartment here. So let's start with the smallest compartment. And in that compartment I have a little Silva compass. Real basic. Works good. They're reliable. There's a little ACR whistle in here. I also have one of these on my car keys. Not this exact type, one that I actually like a little bit better, but I put this one inside the kit as a backup because I think it's a pretty important signaling device, and you can really get someone's attention in a hurry with a whistle blast. Alright, that's the only two things that I have in there. So let's close that up and we'll open this part up. Alright, you can see this compartment here is divided into two areas. Kind of a loose area up front and then a tight area up top here. So in this one I have some sunscreen, some hand sanitizer, some Repel, and I've got some Sting Ease for those bites. That's actually come in handy before. Okay, the next thing I have here is a carbide scribe. So it's a little aluminum chassis, and I've got a little piece of PVC over the end, and this is actually a carbide tip. So this will pretty much write into anything, including glass. Let's pan out just a little bit here so you can see all the contents. and my white leg. Alright, this is a center punch. You've seen this, I think, in my USK kit over there. But again, I've got a piece of PVC on here, and this is a spring-loaded center punch. Press down on it, and this will recoil. This will go right through a window. If you're trapped inside of a vehicle or something like that, this will get you out very quickly. Okay, another thing I have up here is earplugs. I kind of find earplugs are, you never know what you're going to need them for until you have a need for them, but they are really great. From the standpoint of survival, I've always thought, you know, if I had to use an emergency whistle and I wasn't mobile and maybe I had a broken leg or something like that, I'm going to get on this whistle, I'm going to put in those earplugs and pull those out to listen, because once you start blowing on that whistle, your ears will really start ringing. Okay, I've got a small emergency mirror here. This is actually a signal mirror that has a sight window in it. It's just a real small mirror, just handy, going to give you a minimum amount of signaling capability in daylight conditions. Okay, the next thing I have in here is a full-size Bic lighter, and this is something that I'll check and test periodically, but I can always see how much fluid is in it just by backlighting it, and I'll give it a flick and make sure it's good to go. Okay, the next thing in here, I've got one of those hair ties. Those come in handy as like a improvised ranger band, but unlike a ranger band, someone could actually use that in their hair if they needed to. And on this, I've got a small set of tweezers, and I've got about, I don't know, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like I've got 6 clothespins. So those are good for all kinds of things. Okay, I think that's everything. Let's go to the main compartment. You'll notice that on the outside of the package here, I've actually got some shot cord wrapped, and this kind of keeps everything compressed and as tight as it can possibly be. So not a very expensive bag. There's better bags out there. This one was $5 or $6, and it's been working just fine. Okay, in my main compartment here, I've got a chapstick. This is one of those UST survival saws. You can see it's got the little hacksaw blade on there, and it has an actual blade. I would recommend sharpening these because they just don't come sharp. I've actually sawed through a piece of rebar with one of these USTs once, and I think it took about 18 minutes or so for a 3/8 piece of rebar, but it will go through it. Next thing I've got in here is just a little, would be the backup compass for this kit, and I've got a small thermometer on there. Okay, I have a hank of bank line here, and I'm trying to remember, I might have to annotate this. I think it's number 11 bank line, so it's pretty thin, but I've got about 60 feet of it there. So there's a lot of cordage material there. This is just a little Jetstream pen, Uniball. One of my YouTube friends gave that to me. They seem to be pretty reliable. You can see I've got a roll of duct tape here. It's not Gorilla Tape, it is a little bit thinner. What I like about this tape, it seems to be a little bit more pliable, and if I have to use this on my feet to stop blisters, this will actually work, whereas the Gorilla Tape is just a bit too thick. Next thing here, you've seen these before in different videos. This is a Belomo triplet loop. This is a 7-power loop. A big viewing window here and lots of light passing through. I like the 7 because anyone can use the 7. It doesn't take a lot of skill to use this one, yet it still has enough power. It also works as a backup fire starter if you needed to. Alright, I've got a Leatherman Super Tool in here. I like this one because it does have the replaceable cutting jaws. So if there's something that I'm going to need to cut, it's in an urban environment, it's often something that's going to destroy the actual cutting jaws, and I like to have those replaceable. So it's a little bit heavy. You might substitute this for a PS4 Squirt or something like that, but or a Wave even. But I like having the full-size tool. I like having the biggest, beefiest, most powerful plier that I can have in a urban or an EDC kit. So it does add a little bit of weight to my 2.1 or 2.2 pound kit, but it works really well. Okay, the next thing I have here is a mosquito net, And I have had to pull this out of here. I can think of about half a dozen occasions where, because I had my EDC kit, but maybe I forgot my my mosquito netting and my other hunting kit or something like that, I had this, and it really saved the day, especially this summer up in the woods. Some of those no-see-ums really come out in the early summer in May and June and will drive you out of your mind. So these are very, very handy. I actually try to carry 2 of these, and you'll see one of these in my get home bag, which will be the video after this one. I have a diamond sharpener in here. I always carry an EDC blade on me of some type. That would be my immediate EDC, and I'm always going to have this even if I am not, even if I don't have the kit physically on me or attached to my belt. So this will give me a quick sharpen in the field. It's just a simple rod with enough abrasion on there that it's going to give me a quick sharpen. It's small, pen size, and real handy for something this size in a kit here. Alright, the next thing I have in here is just a set of medical shears. These are the smaller size, but they're really handy. It's going to give you a better scissor than what's available on the Leatherman. Better ergonomics, longer cutting distance. These are the ones that you can cut a coin with, but of course once you cut a coin with them, they don't work very good anymore. It bends them. They're soft. Okay, the next thing I've got in here is just a little ITP. This is kind of a copy of the Maritac light, and I've always got a lithium L92 battery in there. So this is something I test periodically, but it is a 3-mode, so it's going to give me a medium, high, low, and enough power there on low to get me through a full night if I need it. The next is just a Sharpie, something to write with. If you need to write a quick note on your hand or your arm, or write on something just quickly to remind you, or leave a note to someone on a concrete pillar as a signal, that kind of a thing, you know, the sky's the limit with something like this. You remember my EDC necklace, the video that I did? This is the EDC necklace stripped, because I've got most of that stuff here in my kit. Since my kit changed, I didn't really need the necklace anymore, but you can see I've just got a piece of paracord on here with a stopper at the end, and this sits in the bottom of the kit. Now if I need to take certain items and attach those to this to keep them handy and around my neck, I can do that to keep those items that I can immediately grab. Okay, the next thing on here is a small rain poncho. You can see I've got this folded. Normally they're about like that in the plastic, but I've got this one doubled over again. Okay, and along the same lines I do have a space blanket. Now these things are notoriously delicate and they can tear, so depending on the grade that you have. I went with a thin grade so that I'd have it in my EDC kit. It would be good for helping someone out who was in shock or something, and you just needed to lay it over them, or it would make a nice reflector in back at a campfire, something to give you just a little bit of protection from the wind and a little bit of reflectivity from a fire if you needed it. Also in here you can see I've just got some basic cut bandages, some iodine, and some triple antibiotic ointment. So just some real basic, very, very basic stuff. It's not for anything serious. It's just for making that little knife cut a little bit easier. Okay, the next thing I have in here is a little bit of medical super glue. Along the same lines, if you get a small cut or something, this is sterile and will help you kind of close that wound back together. Some antacid. This is just a roll of Tums, assorted fruit flavors. Really great. I don't get heartburn too often, but I remember having it at a time so bad where it almost felt as if I was having a heart attack. It was pretty bad. So having, you know, just being able to chew on a single tablet to stop that is a miracle. So I always like to have this with me. It's just a good idea, especially in a stressful situation. So in here I've just got a very tiny kit with about 8 or 10 Advil, a bismuth, kind of along the same lines. I've got an anti-diarrhea in there, and I think I can't remember what that is. I'll have to look at the package or see the pill. Anyhow, just necessities: heartburn, Advil for swelling, anti-diarrhea. That's always good to have. And I think that's everything. I do have a handcuff key on the side, and it does have the pin in back for those double locks there. Alright guys, now for my immediate EDC. This one might surprise you a little bit, considering what you know about me, what my subs know about me, and how I typically go equipped when I go out into the field or something like that. Let's just start with knives. I normally carry one of two knives. One's a little chive, rainbow chive, and the other is a SOG Twitch 2. Both are fine. Obviously the SOG Twitch gives me a little bit more capability without a lot of extra size. It doesn't show too much clip off the back. Both of these are great little EDC choices. They're fine for small tasks and cutting, opening boxes, cutting food, especially the Twitch 2. It's got enough blade there to do that. Okay, the next thing is going to be a little through night. This is a AAA light, and it's a 2 mode, and I've got an L92 battery in there, and it does have a removable clip on it, so if I need to take this clip, switch it around and use it on the brim of a hat in an emergency, I can do that. Okay, the next thing here is just a mini Bic. So I found that the little windmill lighter, the pressurized windproof lighter that I had before, it's just too bulky. This little guy is super thin, it's reliable. So you can see right here, I've got my light, fire, and a sharp instrument all in that much space, only a few ounces. And the next thing, I typically have either my Benchmade or my Surefire pen with me, and that's about all that I'll have on my person. I don't even carry my wallet with me. That's locked in a drawer when I get to work. As for the other things, a couple of phones. One's a work phone, wallet, keys, and let's talk about the items that would be on me as soon as I stepped away from work or went to lunch or something, or it was just on my day off and out and about. Alright, so one of the first things I do when I get to my vehicle and I'm stepping out to go to a restaurant or something like that, I'll grab one of my large blades. Sometimes that's an X2, sometimes it's a Vaquero. This one I've had, gosh, forever. It's not even something that I use, it's just a big, large emergency defensive blade. This can go in my back pocket, doesn't draw much attention, surprisingly. It carries pretty deep, and I can put that in a back pocket and no one even notices it. And I'll typically grab one of my small pepper sprays. So depending on where I'm going, this will always be something that I grab before I leave the vehicle. If I can untuck my shirt and I have a place to conceal, in the summertime it's typically going to be a Bodyguard 380 with an extra mag, or say a Ruger LCR, or in this case an LCRX with a hammer on it. I just like the hammered guns. In the summertime it's terrible around here, so the less I have against my body and the lighter the weight, the smaller the belt I can use. So I'm really gravitating towards these smaller guns. The rest of the year it's typically going to be a Glock 19, or kind of the crossover period, maybe spring and fall, I'll go with a Glock 26 rather than the 19. If it's any time around nighttime hours, I'll leave this behind and I'll either take a Nightcore or the PD-35, the Phoenix. SRT3, I should have said, Nightcore SRT3 or the Phoenix. Either one of those still fit in my back pocket. Usually go on the left back pocket with one of these. And that's pretty much my EDC. Let me line that up for you so that you can see it. Okay, I've tried to set these in groups for you so that you can see the wallet, the phones. This would be my work EDC right here in this little section. If I go out to lunch or something like this, it'll turn into that. And if I'm off work and it's nighttime, one of those lights will go out and I'll end up with the PD-35 or the SRT3, a mag, and a Bodyguard or an LCRX or a Glock 26. And it's obvious that the second piece here for my immediate EDC is somewhat modular, so it'll kind of change up. I will never carry all of those at the same time, but I might have to take a couple pieces out. Like I might not carry the Twitch, and I might not carry that little through night if I've got the big knife and I've got the larger flashlight. But you can see it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Everything up top fits inside of that case, and everything at the bottom here basically fits inside of my pockets or my waistband. Now the rest that I don't carry with me or have on my immediate person would still be in the car, and that's going to be what's in my get home bag. So in the next video we'll talk about what's in my get home bag, and you can see how these items here will complement because they get added to the get home bag. And I think you'd be really surprised with my get home bag as well. Anyhow, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the comments field, and at least, well, that video is for the first up for the first week or two. I'll try to answer everyone who responds in the first week or two or has questions. So thanks for watching, guys. Patriot out.